Good morning, everybody. I wish I could be there instead of home, but I don't think you really want me to be there right now. I left school on Tuesday with no voice by the end of the day from cold, but poor Janae, my daughter, was sick through the night, Tuesday night, throwing up every half hour, and I ended up having the same bug last night, so I don't think you want me to be there and give that to you. So, if I have to pause all of a sudden, then you'll know why, but hopefully I can get through this part, and yeah. So, today we're gonna have some presentation, I think. As long as he's there and everything's okay, then Nathan was gonna present his slideshow today. I just want you to give him a warm welcome and make him feel comfortable, and ask if he'd rather you ask questions during it or afterwards, and be respectful, because you know what it's like to get up there. It can be you can get kind of nervous when you're in front of your peers, so but I know you guys will be a great audience. Remember Trent and Kier, if you guys can, turn around and face his way, that'd be awesome. We can pause this while he does his presentation, or just stop it and then play again. And then I'm gonna get you to have your notes out from chapter 16, because we had just a little bit left to finish. So today we're going to have the presentation, and then I'll talk through the notes that we haven't finished, and then after that I'm going to give you some time to organize your binders for your exam. Okay, so you can put in organizing structures, you can add to it, you can make sure things are in the right order. You can put little table of contents thing if that helps you. But don't assume that because it's open binder that it'll be easier, because you need to know where things are and not to look everything up. So that's kind of the plan for today's class. I'll ask that the substitute pause this or stop it and then play again when the presentation is over. So please have your chapter 16 notes ready for the next part once Nathan's done. So thanks, Nathan, for today. Sorry that I missed it. Okay, so last day we were talking about the marine vertebrates. So they're the ones that have backbones. And we talked first about some general characteristics of the vertebrates, and then the 7 classes of vertebrates. Okay, so remember it's phylum Chordata, subphylum Vertebrata, and then class, and these are the different class names, because I think some of you are getting a little mixed up of what it means when I say what the classes are. So it's a grouping of organisms that have similar features. So we talked about the jawless fish, and I showed you the little guy Joshua that we have in the jar. So the sea lampreys and the hagfish. We talked about chondrichthyes, the cartilaginous fish like sharks and skates and rays. We talked about osteichthyes, the bony fish, and how a lot of them have swim bladders and operculum, and some different problems that fish have and how they deal with them. Different mechanisms they have for defense too. Their lateral line, funkiness of the seahorse. We talked about class amphibia and why there's no marine amphibians. So that would be a good question. We talked about the reptiles, so class Reptilia, and the three groups. So these would be orders of them, but we just didn't say the order names. Okay, so this is class Reptilia, and the three groups of reptiles would be in certain orders. So we have turtles, and lizards and snakes, and then crocodiles, the three groups. And then we left off talking about class aves, and aves is a bird, so aves are birds. So that's what that one means. We talked about the adaptations that they have for flight and some other common features that they have. We talked about the fact that there's only very few seabirds, only about 3% of birds are seabirds, and that all the seabirds have what's called a salt gland, like a lot of the other marine vertebrates. So it's a way that they can force out excess salt. So when they drink or eat things that have so much salt in them, then they have a way of getting rid of the excess salt. And it kind of drips down, looks like they have a runny beak, like a runny nose. So there are 4 orders of marine birds. There's tube noses, pelicans and relatives, gulls, and penguins. So we're going to look at them. So the first one, tube noses, order Procellariformes. Proceller, it means storm, so the storm birds, storm petrels and shearwaters. We have these are a few examples that we have around PEI. So this is a Wilson's storm petrel and a Leach's storm petrel, a greater shearwater and a Manx shearwater. The name tube nose refers to plumbing in their beak that senses airspeed, smells, and removing salt from salt glands. Some stay at sea for months through storms in the hot tropics or cold polar regions, gliding continually. So they include the petrels, so storm petrels, like we have shearwaters and albatrosses. So the second order of birds, so this is class aves, and then order Pelecaniformes. Pelican stands for pelican, so they're pelicans and their relatives. So these are typical what you would think of as a pelican. They have throat pouches and they have webbed feet. And they're common for tropical and subtropical coasts. Not as oceanic as the tube noses, so they're not way out to sea. They tend to be kind of closer by. And you can see his big pouch here. Kind of cool. And these are some local ones. These are the cormorants. And you can see them, I know, every time I go across the Hillsborough Bridge in Charlottetown. There's a whole lot of them. They're standing on the posts that are sticking out in the water. So next time you do that, have a look, and you'll see some. The third order are the gulls. Shadariformes. Sharadra, it means cleft dweller. They're very capable flyers, surprisingly good runners on land because of the positioning of their legs, and they can even go without one leg. It's positioned under their mid-body, so they can run fairly well. Many are scavengers, so you can picture the gulls that are hanging out in the parking lots waiting for food. Includes the small and acrobatic terns. They dive in water in search of prey. Arctic tern holds the migration record for distance. So that's pretty cool. So this one is really common around here. These are actually all from around here. So this one is a ring-billed. If you look really close, there's a black ring around the end of its beak. This is Bonapartes. So the Bonapartes, they have the black head, except in the winter. In the winter, it goes white with a little black spot on it. So kind of cool. This one is a greater blackback. So it's got a much darker back, and it's got a red spot on here. And then we have common tern and Arctic tern. They both look a lot like this, so sometimes they're hard to tell apart. And the last order of seabirds we're going to talk about is order Sphenisciformes. Spheniscos means a little wedge. So, these are found in the southern hemisphere only. So, no, there's none at the North Pole. They range in size from a large duck to over a meter. They're flightless, but they use their wings instead for swimming. So they fly underwater. They're really super fast. It's pretty cool to watch them. They have different heat-saving adaptations. So they have fatty insulation. They have greasy peg-like feathers. There's stubby appendages. So look at their feet, their webbed feet. They're stubby. And large size and weight. All good for maintaining their heat. Okay, this is just showing the differences between them. So this one is a chin strap penguin. Looks like he's wearing a chin strap. The Adelie has a white ring around their eye. The Gentoo, white triangular patch over their eye. The rockhopper, spiked yellow feathers that droop from the side of his head. They're pretty cool. Macaroni, spiked yellow feathers on the top of the head. The emperor penguin. You gotta see the difference between these two. So the emperor penguin has a fuzzy-edged yellow-orange patch behind the cheek. So this is an emperor penguin and its baby. The king penguin has a solid yellow-orange patch behind the cheek, but it looks like they have two almost. So if you look at more pictures, there's one here, and then there's a tiny bit down here. So, the last class that we're going to talk about is our class. So, class Mammalia. We are the most advanced group of vertebrates, and these are common characteristics that are common to all mammals. We have mammary glands that we use to feed our young. That's why we call class Mammalia. We have diaphragms for breathing. We have hair at some point in our lives. We have hair all over us still. We're heterodonts, so that means we have different types of teeth. We are homeothermic like birds, so we're the only two groups, us and birds, that are homeothermic, and that means that we can maintain a fairly constant internal temperature. So that means we can live in all different kinds of climates. We don't depend on the environment for our temperature. And we breathe using lungs, like reptiles and birds do. So, includes cows, pigs, bats, dogs, cats, monkeys, elephants, mice, humans, whales, dolphins, walruses, sea cows, and so on. The marine mammals have certain characteristics that help them for living in a salty environment, marine environment. The first is their streamlined bodies. So they have streamlined bodies with limbs adapted for swimming. Thin, stiff flippers and tail flukes at the rear of the body to drive them forward. Similar forelimbs to act as rudders for steering, and drag is reduced by slippery skin or hair. Adaptations to live in cold water. They generate a high internal temperature with a high metabolic rate. Maintain this heat with thick layers of insulating fat and fur. Few surface blood vessels and large size to volume ratio. They have a highly modified respiratory system to collect and hold large amounts of oxygen. And that's important because they could go underwater for quite a while and then they have to go back up in order to get some more oxygen. So their lungs are set up differently, allowing some whales to stay under for up to an hour and a half. So that's pretty awesome. Osmotic adaptations to avoid the need for finding fresh water. So they need a way of getting rid of excess salt. So they swallow little salt water in feeding. Their skin is waterproof so that the salt can't cross and their water can't leave to go out to the salt, because the salty environment is saltier than what's inside them. Kidneys excrete a highly concentrated water or urine so that they can keep as much water as they can. And they meet their water needs from water derived from breakdown of food. So when they eat a lot of food, it gives them the water that they need to survive. Because cellular respiration, one of the products is H2O. 3 orders that we're going to look at of marine mammals are Cetacea, Carnivora, and Sirenia. Cetacea, order Cetacea, ketos means whale. So they're thought to have evolved from the ungulates, and that's hooved mammals. So they're related to sheep and horse. Their characteristics, they can range in size from 6 to 110 feet. They may weigh up to 100,000 kilos, which is huge. Their front limbs, again, designed for steering. Rear limbs fuse together. Then they move up and down using powerful muscles to drive them through the water. So you can picture a whale or a dolphin and moving their hind tail. Thick layer of blubber, which blubber is fat, which provides buoyancy, helps them float. It provides insulation, and it also gives them a source of energy for when they maybe don't have as much food around. They have 1 or 2 nostrils at the top of their head that can be closed when diving, and it's like their blowhole. And they have large folded brains, and they form complex social and family groups. Even today, some countries slaughter whales under the guise of science, although most countries have stopped. But there's 2 suborders. We are in order Cetacea, and there's 2 suborders, so that's groups within that order. They're called Odontoceti and Mysticeti. Odonto refers to teeth, and Mysticeti is like mystery. So the Odontoceti are the ones that have teeth. Odontos means tooth. So the toothed whales, they're active predators, and they have teeth for catching and eating their prey. They're intelligent animals with large brain. They range in size from the porpoise or dolphin and killer whales up to the massive sperm whale, which can dive over a kilometer searching for large squid. So the sperm whale can get up to 60 feet. This is a sperm whale here. The toothed whales search for their prey using echolocation, kind of like a bat's sonar. You've probably seen different videos about dolphins, at least, but they all emit a click sound, and then the sound will bounce off their prey. Some may use sound as a weapon to stun their prey. There's dolphin, and the orca or killer whale, and the sperm whale, for examples. Suborder Mysticeti. Mystidos means unknowable, so basically it's mystery. These are the baleen whales. So that means that they have no teeth. Instead, they have baleen. This is baleen. And so it's like filters. Okay, they're filter feeders. So they swallow large amounts of shrimp-like zooplankton or small fish. They don't eat big things. They don't eat humans. They don't eat big things. They are filter feeders. They stay in shallow water near the surface and feed with their sieve-like plates of bristly baleen, it says. They swallow huge gulps of water or mud and squeeze out the water inside of their mouths while the plankton gets trapped in the plate. So it's funny, they don't bring the water in. They take the water in and then force it out through the plates. Their tongue compresses the food and squeezes more moisture out before they swallow it down their small throat. It's a very short feeding chain, so it provides them with considerable energy, but they have to eat a lot. The blue whale will consume 3 tons per day. 1 million calories. They're intelligent, social, and use sound to communicate. So they don't really use it as much to find prey, because their prey is really tiny. Mysticeti is an excellent name for them, as they are mysterious and not a lot is known about them. Okay, Okay. I believe this is a blue whale, and this is the humpback, and then this is a right whale. It's got like knobby white stuff on them.
Humpback.
Yeah, a humpback.
No,
Okay, the next order. So first we talked about order Cetacea, which is the whales, and then the two subgroups of whales. Now we're going to talk about order Carnivora. So they're the carnivores, and they'd be related to dogs and cats and bears because they're meat eaters. There's two suborders or subgroups of carnivores. They're Pinnipedia and Fissipedia. Pinna means wing, so suborder Pinnipedia, I think wing feet. So they're a suborder that can leave the ocean for periods of time and includes seals, sea lions, and walruses. So you should be able to tell the difference between a seal and a sea lion. That might be one question that you have. So if you look, this one is kind of better able to hold themselves up on land, and they have little ear flaps. This one kind of lays on its side because its front limbs aren't as developed for being on land and sitting up, and they don't have external ear flaps. They just have an ear hole. So true seals are the ones that lack the external ear flaps. So this is a true seal, and this is a sea lion. Okay? Walruses, you can tell a walrus because they have big tusks that they use to find clams on the bottom and to haul themselves onto the ice. So which one's which?
I know.
These ones. Oh, do you know, Janae? Which one's which? Which one's which?
That's a walrus.
You're right. This one's a walrus because it has tusks.
That's a seal.
That is a sea lion because it has the external ear flaps, and it kind of looks like it can sit up better on land. And then this one has the ear holes, no ear flap, and they just kind of lay there. So this is a seal. Yep, that's a sea lion, and that's a seal. Good job. All right. The other suborder is Fissipedia. Fissus means split, and pedia refers to foot. Pedalis is foot. So it includes animals like cats and dogs and bears. This is the suborder that includes cats and dogs and bears. There's two marine representatives, and they are the sea otters and the polar bears. Sea otters are the smallest marine mammals. They have rough, rich fur, and a lot of people want their fur. So it led to near extinction for them. They consume a lot of shellfish, crustaceans, and echinoderms. So you can see him here enjoying his clam. So they often will lay on their back, and they'll use a rock or a stone in order to open a bivalve against it. And a bivalve is just clams and mussels, the ones that have two shells. That's what it means. So it's pretty cool. Polar bears are the largest of the land carnivores, and they're able to swim long distances, like 100 kilometers. So they're traveling to stalk their prey. They do stalk humans, and so they're not, don't go up and pet them. And they're hunted in large numbers for their fur. Order Sirenia. Siricus means mermaid. So originally, the Greeks thought of these as though they might be mermaids. Thought of them, they look kind of like mermaids the way that they moved. They're large-bodied, small-brained herbivores. So like a land cow, these are sea cows. They like to eat plants. Okay, so they're herbivores. They include the manatees, which are commonly called sea cows, and they also are thought to have evolved from the same line of ungulates as the whales. They eat seagrasses, and they live in various tropical and temperate waters around the world, so around Asia, South America, and Africa. Today, the numbers are low due to hunting in some areas and collisions with small watercraft propellers a lot of them in Florida. So. And that should be it. Okay, so I would like you to take some time to organize your binders. We're going to do our talks tomorrow. And, as you're looking through your binder, put stars by things and see if you have any questions. I did manage, when Janae was sleeping in between being sick, I did manage to get your tests corrected because I thought you'd want them back. I will try my best to get your notes and tests marked so you can have them to study with, but you should have a copy of them anyway. If you have any questions, please email me and I'll do my best to get back to you, but yeah, I just wish that I could have been there today. Anyway, thanks for being a great class, and I should see you tomorrow.